Hey, what's happening, guys? Dan Darrow here with another Options to Play video update. Well, coming into today, I thought it was going to be a little bit slower of a session. Not a whole lot of scheduled news and kind of a smaller gap in terms of magnitude of the gap, right, than what we've seen recently. A lot of these averages are working on, so the Qs are working on a 5-day run. Sputters had a nice run. So small move off the open. Not a lot of news. Pretty sharp recent run, and you combine that with the fact that we have the jobs report tomorrow. It just seemed like we were setting up for kind of like a quiet digestion day. Especially after the week we've had, the run we've had, and then like the big economic data tomorrow morning, right? Um, and actually, that really wasn't the case. I mean, it's been kind of a strange session, and there's been a really significant washout in some of these software stocks, right? So, software names like Adobe, Workday, right? NOW, just some of like the leading names. I mean, it's really like you take your pick. Shopify, right? You can see like these bars, Trade Desk, like bunch of really top performing software names, Zscaler, right? The list goes on and on. So it's not just a few names. It's basically like the entire sector is seeing like this major like distribution down day, and you know, like when you see moves like this in an overall kind of quiet sideways tape, right? Because like the Qs aren't really doing a whole lot. The spiders are actually higher, so it makes you question whether this is, like, is this like the start of correction, or maybe a little bit of a washout move. And honestly, I'm leaning more towards the latter here. Uh, these are still a handful. Yes, there is probably like the work days, right, and the NOWs. Like there is going to be a little bit of technical damage done today, but these are still solid trends. Still have some areas of interest underneath, right? And basically, like the numbers for the most part have been pretty solid. I mean, during this last session on Monday, we talked about the prep that I do, or the prep that I like to do ahead of earnings season, and it's kind of like identifying themes. Okay, so it's when earnings season kicks off, I kind of like to know what I'm looking for, like what names were strong last quarter, what numbers were good, where has been the better action, right? Because it helps kind of sort through the hundreds of names that report every day, and you can kind of like pinpoint the ones you want to go after. So, one of the major themes from this past quarter was just that software was just incredible. I mean, like the numbers were fantastic, the moves were for the most part very, very, very good. The action in the interim too. So like after the numbers have come out and before this quarter starts, I mean the action up until today has been really impressive, right? Just really strong moves. I mean, MongoDB is another one, right? So just some really great action. So it seems that the demand is there. The numbers have been strong. So like the numbers, the guidance, there's growth, and yes, today was kind of like an ugly day, but that's why it might be creating some opportunity, right? And just from like an overall point of view, instead of thinking of this maybe as a top, I kind of like to, to take some signs from like the VIX in cases like this. I don't like to use it very often as a leading indicator, but when you start to see the one of the top performing sectors get taken to the woodshed in a session like this, you would think that there would be a little bit of an uptick in fear, right? People that are nervous saying, okay, like this is it, this is signaling the top, we're going to roll from here. But you're not seeing that. And that's giving me some confidence that, again, like this falls into more like shake the tree, right? Some of these things were overbought, some needed a pullback. The fundamentals haven't really changed. There wasn't a specific headline that created the move. It wasn't like nasty guidance in one of like the top names. Uh, it really just seemed like it was kind of like things were overbought, hadn't had a pullback in a while. Maybe some programs, right? They're saying like take profits, trigger more programs, so on and so forth, and it built and it built and it built. But there really wasn't a headline to identify it. And as earnings season comes into view here, this could be creating some interesting opportunities. So I wanted to put this on your radar because yes, some of these valuations, some of these charts are stretched, but if we do get a pullback here, I'm looking at it more as like a bullish opportunity, not as a signal of a near-term top. Okay, so if you see like trade ideas that are bullish, you're seeing some of these things get run over. If you see like trade ideas that are bullish, it's because the numbers have backed up the performance, and some of these are still in like really great uptrends. And assuming that there's decent levels to work with, I still think most of the opportunity lies on the upside. I mean, maybe not to the same extent as we saw in like January, February, because a lot of things had big moves, but still, I think that this isn't like a necessarily a signal of a top, right? Because I think that the VIX would show a little bit more fear, um, especially because it's like a leading sector, like a very uh, sizable leading sector. So I think that the VIX kind of not doing a whole lot today is a one of those signs that's saying like, okay, like not a reason to panic. This to me is going to be creating some opportunity, so I'm going to view it from that perspective. All right. And again, we talked about this in Monday's option session, and like this is why I like to identify like the trends before we get into the quarter, just because you will occasionally see some moves like this right ahead of earnings when you get the buybacks get turned off, and things that are maybe up a lot. You see some profit taking right ahead of numbers, and it's nice to know where you want to go, right? Have like the game plan in place, because sometimes these moves happen quickly and they don't give a whole lot of room for, there's not a lot of time to like sit around and try to like figure it out. I mean, you kind of need to have a game plan ahead of time. Um, so yeah, I recommend keeping an eye on these software names. Okay, um, like do your work, like find the good levels. I mean, everybody likes a handful of these different names. But keep them on your radar. All right. Um, Also, definitely get a little bit of a prep package in place for earnings season, like names that maybe had great earnings last quarter, names that had really bad earnings, like sectors had good earnings, sectors had bad earnings, just so as the reports start coming out, you kind of know where you want to go, what type of bets you want to be looking at, so on and so forth. All right. So I'd love to hear what you guys think. As always, I love when you reach out. So questions or comments on this video, any of the names I talked about, or any of the trades that are open at the moment. Please definitely reach out. So I hope you guys have an awesome night, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow.